Welcome to BioLayout Express training video covering visual preferences. This video is devoted to instructing users on how to change the appearance of graphs in BioLayout Express3D. It includes information on how to change the background color, node rendering properties, an explanation of wire mode and node tessellation, node lighting and node shader options, as well as changing the surface image of nodes. Okay, let's start with a simple graph sitting here in three-dimensional space. Under the General tab, there are a series of buttons that allow you to alter the general characteristics about a graph's appearance. So let's start by looking at this group here, background color options. Here we can change the background color. All the changes with colors here are much the same process. So let's begin by changing the color of the background. Clicking here brings up the color swatches palette. So let's change the background to black, and then we have a new background color. Let's deselect and take the background back to its default white color. Within the tool, there are a number of ways you can change the appearance of nodes. So far, we've been seeing our selected nodes as full color, so let's change that to wire mode in the rendering tab and tick the box for wireframe selection mode. You can see selected nodes are made up of these polygons, represented by this wireframe. The wireframe essentially denotes the level of detail used to construct the 3D shape. The more polygons you use to construct the shape, the greater level of detail, but there is a catch. The more polygons you use, i.e. the higher the tessellation as it's called, the more memory is required. With big graphs, or where your graphics card may not be so good, high detail nodes can use a lot of memory and thereby slow down the rendering of the graph. So you may want to adjust this. Open the rendering tab at the top of the display and slide the bar for the 3D nodes tessellation. Reducing the number, you can see that it looks less like a sphere, but it uses up a lot less memory. Okay, so first let's go back and clear up the tessellation, because you have a good graphics card and the graph is relatively small. So let's look at the lighting of the nodes. In the 3D lighting within the rendering tab, you can change the lighting angles through its X, Y, and Z positions. So you can move it around like so. You can also adjust the shininess of nodes with this bar here. Okay, so in this last section, I really want to cover aspects in graph rendering that are perhaps less useful, but are fun all the same. This covers shader options. Shaders are a set of advanced algorithms used largely in the gaming environments to display textures on objects. As part of research into the use of this technology, we implemented a number of these shaders within BioLayout Express3D. To make life easy for this and other options, you may want to turn on the advanced keyboard rendering control here. Now you have this selected, you can toggle through most of the shader options with the numbers on the keyboard. Now if you have the animated shading selected, many of these will be animated. So let's take advantage of this and set the graph to auto-rotate up here in the 3D menu. The default shader used by the tool is called Fong, and it's selected by pressing the number 1 on your keyboard, and go to the next shader bump by pressing number 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. 9 for wood shader, and to carry on press 0 to view the rest. Hopefully you can see that all the shader options can add a certain sparkle to what you're doing. One final option for colouring nodes is to wrap an image around them. Select Node Surface Image Texture and have a look at some of the titles in the drop-down. Of course, there's a BioLayout splash screen and a series of planetary textures. Another option here is that we can have our own images appear, so the loading of supported images files can be done with Load and cleared with the Clear tab. So these are some of the ways we can change the appearance of graphs within BioLayout Express3D. We haven't covered all the options, but I hope it's a good start and will allow you greater flexibility in displaying your data.